Hey guys, it's Pete again, and we are living in some unprecedented times, and I think it's a great opportunity for me to talk about a couple of things that I think are important while you're financial coaching right now, because there are probably a lot of people reaching out to you with different questions, especially questions related to the markets. And if you're watching this video at a later time, right now we have the coronavirus going on. A lot of places are under quarantine. Here in Illinois, we are certainly under kind of a stay in place or a shelter in place order. And so I think one of the things that you'll be working with are people who are concerned and maybe easily distracted by what's going on in the market or the stock market specifically and their investments because they are staying at home and they aren't working. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about is I think there are 2 points here. It's a great opportunity to be an educator. And secondly, please have a plan in place for a referral. And first of all, let me talk about being an educator. So I think a lot of times when people are financial coaching, we don't want to dispense a lot of information. I think especially in a peer coaching relationship, what we're trying to do is extract the ability out of people to own their own problem, their solution, and pursue it. And one of the things I've seen from a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, is to want to inject too much into that conversation. And I think this is a great time to inject it because the reality of financial decisions is that you can make bad financial decisions. And buying high and selling low is absolutely mathematically a decision that you can make, and there can be justifications for doing so, but it is a bad mathematical decision. What you really want to do is understand what people are doing with their money and why they're doing it, and maybe what are some of the likely scenarios they need to think about. So first of all, a lot of people right now are looking at the volatility of the market. The market is down something like 30% and saying, hey, should I get out of the market? I can't sustain this kind of loss. And, these are questions about risk tolerance that probably should have been answered before. But in some cases, if it is retirement money and they are not retiring, the current state of the market is almost irrelevant, right? Because this is a good opportunity to share and educate that the markets have always rebounded, that they've always set new highs, and that if you are, especially if you're 30, 40, 50 years old, maybe you're 10, 20, 30 years away from retirement, that's still a long time to be removed from that date. And so staying invested in the market is probably your best mathematical strategy, and it's probably just a great time to kind of check out and just let your money ride. And in fact, if you have the ability to put in more money, if you are working and earning a paycheck and having money deducted, that's great. You're buying in, you're dollaring down. What you're doing is reducing the average per share price that you're paying, dollar cost averaging in. And if you have some money that you've been sitting on the side this is a great opportunity to put that money in. It's funny that I've been working with people for a while now that have been worried about investing in the market because they thought the market was a little high, that it seemed strong, that it was ripe for a pullback. And now that we have a pullback, and not just a small pullback, but a fairly aggressive pullback here, that now they're worried about putting money in. So if there had been a little pullback and an opportunity, they would have jumped all over it. But now that there's a greater opportunity, they're reluctant to get in there. So I think that's one thing that we can educate on. And, certainly for me personally, I have put money in when I can here over the last few weeks to try to take advantage of this over the long run, because certainly I'm looking at the money for 10 years out, 20 years out, and not just over the next few months. Now, playing that educator role, I think, is really important, and bringing that information to people, calming them down, making them see an opportunity where they thought there was just risk or pain, is one of the great roles that we can play as a financial coach. And I think in a lot of cases we're not always educating that much. There are very few times when we're bringing information to the table that they might not know. Now, certainly when we get into account types and things like that, it can be very helpful. But the other thing, the second point that I want to make here, is have a partner to refer to. And this is what I refer to as like a financial advisor, an investment advisor, a stockbroker, someone who is licensed in that space so that they can give them a specific recommendation on what they should do with their money, right? As a financial coach, you should not be doing that. Again, it's fine to give general information and general education, but I would definitely stay away from anything that might seem like a recommendation. In fact, what I usually won't do with financial coaching participants is to even say something like, I'm doing this, because it sounds like, hey, I am blessing the strategy and I'm doing it myself. And there are a lot of things that I do that I don't think are right for some people. And there are a lot of strategies because someone who's disciplined can use and someone who is undisciplined can't. And so there are a lot of differences there. So I think it's really important to make sure that those most challenging situations are going to someone who is licensed on it, experienced on it, can work with them over time, and may even get paid on it. And so, particularly now, if they say, hey, this is a great opportunity, I do want to invest in the market. I want to get into whatever it might be, oil and gas, because petroleum is way down in the dumps right now. That may or may not be a great strategy. And in fact, I don't know that picking any one sector or one investment option is a great strategy. So that's really where I would encourage you to encourage them to seek out a professional. Now, you might have a relationship with someone that you can vouch for and say, hey, they're local here, they're a great person, but go ahead and interview them and see if you're comfortable with them. Or you can say, here are some national companies. You can go on their website, look up a financial advisor. You can go to cfp.org or .com and find someone locally. You may be working with people virtually in a different state or location. But I think, especially when you're starting to cross over that and people want to take action, this is a good time to hand that off to someone else who can be on the hook, handle the liability of it, as well as also be comforted in knowing that they're insured and often backed by a larger organization that can bring in more resources when they need that. So I think that's really important to, one, make sure that you are doing the education, especially when you're hearing things that might not be in their best interest, like selling out low or moving out money, those types of things. Yeah, and that's fine if that is money that they need right now or imminently, that they cannot leave in the market, and some people are going to be like that. But for people who are thinking of making a decision that might be detrimental to their long term and losing focus on that long term for their needs in the short term, might need some education and some comforting in that role. And then, if they do and they need specific advice there, to be able to hand them off to someone that is a professional. So those are my thoughts for today on the way things are going. I hope everyone is staying safe and staying busy out there, but I will look forward to talking to you in the next video.